Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Let's Learn Angular, which is the second video in this series where I'm going to be recording myself while I learn or really sort of relearn Angular. It's been a while. And so yeah, there's a little bit of preamble in the last episode, but we don't actually do any code, so it's okay if you skip it. I'm just going to click on the... Oh, you know what? My mouse is not showing up on the screen for some reason. There it is. All right. I'm going to go docs, and we're going to go to the tutorial, the tour of heroes. Let's see. Am I able to collapse left side here? No, doesn't seem like I can. That's fine. So tour of heroes. So yeah, in this tutorial, you build your own application from the ground up, providing experience with the typical development process, as well as an introduction to basic app design concepts, tools, and terminology. If you're completely new to Angular, you might want to try the Try It Now Quick Start application first. It is based on a ready-made, partially completed project, which you can examine and modify in the StackBlitz interactive development environment, where you can see the results in real time. I am going to actually just give that a click. We'll take a look at what that is in just a minute. The Try It tutorial covers the same major topics: components, template syntax, routing, services, and accessing data using HTTP in condensed format. Like I said in the last video, I may come across things that I want to be my learning objective in this series that I forgot to add, and one of them would, I guess, just a basic understanding of the template syntax. I think would be pretty cool. Okay, so let's go this Try It Now thing. Getting started with Angular. Welcome to Angular. I think, okay, this is like kind of a whole separate thing. I might take a look at this after we do the tour of heroes tutorial. So let's just stay focused on this. I'm just gonna close that out. This tour of heroes tutorial shows you how to set up your local development environment and develop an application using the Angular CLI tool, and provides an introduction to the fundamentals of Angular. The tour of heroes application that you build helps a staffing agency manage its stable of heroes. The application has many of the features you'd expect to find in any data-driven application. The finished application acquires and displays a list of heroes, edits a selected hero's detail, and navigates among different views of heroic data. You will find references to and expansions of this application domain in many of the examples used throughout the Angular documentation, but you don't necessarily need to work through this tutorial to understand those examples. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to do the following. And this is where I will probably start filling out that glossary of terms that we were talking about in the last video. Okay, so use built-in Angular directives to show and hide elements and display lists of heroes. I'm just going to open that up. We'll take a look at it in just a minute. Create Angular components to display hero details and show an array of heroes. Use one-way data binding. Probably don't need to add that to the glossary. That's fine. For read-only data, add editable fields to update a model with two-way data binding. Bind component methods to user events like keystrokes and clicks. Enable, and that's one of our learning objectives too, is just handling asynchronous events. Enable users to select a hero from a master list and edit that hero in the details view. And format data with pipes. Open that one too. Create a shared service to assemble the heroes and use routing to navigate among different views in their components. You'll learn enough Angular to get started and gain confidence that Angular can do whatever you need to do. Down here, after completing all tutorial steps, the final application will look like this. And definitely going to give that a look in a minute. Here's a visual idea of where this tutorial leads, beginning with the dashboard view and the most heroic heroes. Okay, so that's kind of what it's going to look like. You can click the two links above the dashboard and heroes to navigate between this dashboard view and the heroes view. If you click the dashboard hero, Magneta, the router opens a hero details view where you can change the hero's name. So this would be the second page that we've seen so far. Clicking the back button returns to the dashboard. Links at the top take you to either of the main views. If you click Heroes, the application displays the Heroes Master List view, which looks like this. When you click a different hero name, the read-only mini detail beneath the list reflects the new choice. You can click the View Details button to drill into the editable details of the selected hero. The following diagram captures all of the navigation options. Oh, that's kind of cool that they show that. Yeah, cool. So it's complicated enough of an app that it looks like we'll be able to learn quite a bit of the functionality of Laravel. Here's the application action, give a little diff. Cool. Yeah, that's actually really neat. I already have a pretty good feel of what this application is going to be. But I'm gonna go to the actual code sandbox, or not code sandbox, but the Stack Blitz, and just play with it quick, just to get a feel, I guess, of yeah, what it is we're building in this tutorial. Is there a way to open this up in a new? There is, right here. Open a new window. Just pulls it out over here. Cool. And yeah, so dashboard takes us here. Heroes takes us to this list. We got this like messages section down here, which this looks like it's just like for like debugging. I guess we're just like keeping track of. Yeah, I see I deleted a hero. Assume if I add super awesome man, click add, probably gonna see a little message down here, which is kind of neat. Okay, and if I click somebody, brings me to their details, and I can edit their name. Click save. I'm assuming that will go in messages too, so you can see I updated hero, the ID 11. Oh, it actually shows that I visited the details page first. Cool. Back to the dashboard. Yeah, I guess that's basically it for functionality. It's a pretty simple app, but it looks like we'll learn quite a bit by the end of this. I'm just gonna close that out. And then, yeah, real quick, I did want to capture some of these things, because like I said, Angular does have a lot of terminology. It's like, there's a lot of stuff that I know has like very specific meaning to Laravel. So I kind of want to, I don't want to just like copy and paste this stuff into my glossary, but maybe just sort of get a basic understanding of what, you know, for example, what is a directive in Angular exactly, and then try to just summarize my understanding just over here in Notion. So we're gonna do bold, and we're gonna type directive, and let's see, a class that can modify the structure of the DOM or modify attributes in the DOM and component data model. A directive class definition is immediately preceded by an @directive decorator, something that supplies metadata. So a directive class is usually associated with an HTML element or attribute, and that element or attribute is often referred to as the directive itself. When Angular finds a directive in an HTML template, it creates the matching directive class instance and gives the instance control over that portion of the browser DOM. Okay. I'm not gonna go too crazy with this like glossary of terms. Like, I kind of know what a decorator is, and a template. You know, it's kind of straightforward. But yeah, so it's saying there are 3 categories of directives. So components use the @component decorator, which is actually an extension of directive to associate a template with a class. Oh, interesting. So a component actually technically is a directive in Angular. That's cool. So like I said in the other video, like I kind of have a little bit of experience with Angular. I don't think I quite understood that that's what was happening there, but that makes sense. If a directive basically can be a custom element or a custom attribute, right? Or I guess that's sort of what these are. Attribute, structural directive is something that modifies the structure of the DOM. Let's see. I guess yeah. So a component directive is actually just like associating something that's, I guess you could call it structural, but it's associating a template with a class, I guess would be the way to think about that. And then attribute directives modify behavior and appearance of page elements. Yeah, again, I'm not going to dive too deep into that. I'm sure we'll probably come across that later in the tutorial. And if not, then we'll come back to it. Structural directives modify the structure of the DOM. Okay. Angular supplies a number of built-in directives that begin with the ng prefix. You can also create new directives to implement your own functionality. You associate a selector, an HTML tag such as my directive, with a custom directive. This extends the template syntax that you can use in your applications. Okay. Upper camel case such as ngIf refers to a directive class. You can use upper camel case when describing properties and directive behavior. Lower camel case such as like this version of ngIf refers to a directive's attribute name. You can use lower camel case when describing how to apply the directive to an element of the HTML template. Okay. So I didn't know that there was like a different version of ngIf. I'm not sure if I really understand that yet. What the difference is there. And then okay, so now we're just let me summarize this in terms of like what I understand so far. Like basically a directive is a way to like create custom elements in Angular, right? This can be a component, an attribute, or a structural structural thingy. That's my understanding of this so far, and this will probably get better later. And okay, component, a class with a component decorator that associates it with a companion template. Together, the component class and template define a view. A component is a special type of directive. The component decorator, which is what we just learned a minute ago. The component decorator. Why can't I say that word today? Decorator extends the directive decorator with template-oriented features. Okay, an Angular component class is responsible for exposing data and handling most of the views, display, and user interaction logic through data binding. Read more about component classes, templates, and views in the introduction. So yeah, maybe what it is like you have these like three directives, right? Component being one of them. Components like if you need data and I guess like dynamic content that goes into your template. And then the one that they were calling structural, I'm assuming is like there isn't any data associated with it. Maybe that's kind of my understanding so far. So let's do component is technically a directive, but has a what is it? I guess like a decorator that associates it with a companion template. Has a class and companion. Or no, it's like a directive but made with the component decorator, which associates with a template file. Components are used when you need to, I guess, yeah, bind data to a template. The two pieces together are what's called a view. Makes sense? Kind of makes sense to me. Data binding, I don't need to do that. Pipe, a class which is preceded by the pipe decorator and which defines a function that transforms input values to output values for display in a view. Angular defines various pipes, and you can define new pipes. So, okay. Basically, it sounds like a class that actually just has a function that runs like a transformer. We'll say pipe, and we'll say basically a transformer, but it's a transformer function. But you make a class, and you use the at pipe decorator. I think this probably has to be uppercase. Looks like it has to be uppercase. And wait, call this one differently. Like that. Go like that. No, come on. Really? There we go. Okay. So that's that one, and then service is the last one that I'm going to add, and then we'll get back into the tutorial. And I'll try not to like slow down so much, just to try to keep the pace of this thing moving along. But yeah, in Angular, a class with the injectable decorator that encapsulates non-UI logic in code that can be reused across an application. Angular distinguishes components from services to increase modularity and reusability. Cool. The injectable metadata allows the service class to be used with the dependency injection mechanism. The injectable class is instantiated by a provider. Injectors maintain lists of providers and use them to provide service instances when they are required by components or other services. Wow, that is a lot of terminology. I think instead of diving into all of what that means, I'm just going to capture kind of like my high-level understanding of what a service is. I have an idea of what provider is. I'm just not going to define it yet. Injectors is obviously like a different thing. Like to me, these would like these sound like the same thing. Like these sound like the same word for the same thing. I guess they maintain lists of providers. So yeah, injectors are like collections of providers, and providers provide services. Either way, let's just get down what I took away from it so far. So let's go service. Is a class to house reusable logic that can be shared across your components and other places in your application. And class with injectable decorator that encapsulates non-UI logic. So yeah, basically any class with the injectable decorator is a service, right? And I think that's as far as we're gonna go with that for now. Let's just move forward with this tutorial. How long have I been recording for now? 17 minutes. And we haven't actually started this tutorial yet. So let's... Is there not like a next button? No, let's just go create a project. Okay. So should I stop the video here? I feel like this is maybe a good spot to cut it off. We basically learned a little bit about Angular. Maybe there's a learning objective that we got here. So let's see. Maybe not. We learned some terms, but we didn't get a learning objective. So I don't think I want to cut the video short yet. So let's just keep going. Creating a new project. You begin by creating an initial application using the Angular CLI. Throughout this tutorial, you'll modify and extend the starter application to create the Tour of Heroes application. In this part of the tutorial, you'll do the following: set up your environment, create a new workspace and an initial application project, serve the application, and make changes to the application. This is a live example. We already looked at it. Set up your environment. Follow the instructions in local environment setup. Let's see. Kinda not going to read all of this. I'm just gonna go here and we're just gonna install this doodad. And actually, I don't really like installing CLIs globally, but maybe we do need it. Like we talked about in the last video, it made mention of something that kind of made it sound like there's like the CLI can deploy your Angular apps. I don't know if there's like an Angular cloud. So we might need this globally just to like sign in. So let's just grab it like this. I'm gonna switch over into my terminal and we'll install the CLI globally. There we go. And so yeah, we got that back into the browser. Basic workflow. UNG my first project. So yeah, I will not call it my first project. I will call it, we'll just call it Tour of Heroes. Tour of Heroes. Would you like to add Angular routing? Sure. We'll just use CSS for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm assuming. This is where it gets a little disjointed. Because setting up the local environment. Kind of got kicked out of the tutorial. They're sort of like, go follow the instructions in Angular. But now I don't know. Oh shoot. Maybe I should have read further ahead. What does it say here? Does it tell me which one to grab? I'm assuming probably just wanted me to pick CSS. Yeah, let's see where we're at with the install. You guys can't see it right now. Here we go. Hey, awesome. And let's go back to the tutorial. So we set up our environment. We created a workspace and initial application. The Angular CLI installs the necessary and packages, and it also creates the following workspace and starter project. Yeah, let's just jump into that project and open it up, and then we'll serve the app and see where we're at. So first thing would be to code, and we'll do. See, I set this one up here because I thought. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have assumed that there would be like a generator. And I need to fix which VS Code window that I'm sharing, which should just be this one. we got our app. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an app. Okay, and it wants us, I believe, to just serve open. So let's see, the ng serve command builds the app, starts the development server, watches the source files, and rebuilds the application as you make changes to those files. Very handy. The -- open flag opens a browser at localhost 4200, and we should see it running in our browser. So I'm gonna go to VS Code, and we're just gonna start using the built-in terminal over here for now. Don't know why that's not collapsing on me. That's fine. Just make this nice and big so everybody can see. And we'll go ng serve and what was it? Open -- open. Very sweet. Okay. Yeah. Got the basic Angular app running that was generated from the CLI. I'm assuming as we follow this tutorial, it's probably going to ask us to like delete 90% of this, but maybe we can take a quick look-see at the code. And after that, I think I'm gonna call this video quits, and then we'll kind of go on to creating the actual project. So we have our source file. Actually, let's go out to the root and see. So yeah, it comes with a browser list RC. Going to just bring that text down a little bit. So yeah, this is just used for the build system to adjust CSS and JS output to support a bunch of browsers. Seems pretty straightforward. Then we have our editor config file. This will just tell VS Code to and any other editor that supports these config files to respect this stuff. A little easier to do than setting up like ESLint and Prettier and everything. Although normally I do prefer to have that. Gives us a standard git ignore file, and then we have this Angular JSON, which I'm assuming is like our application config. And I assume we probably will learn about this in the tutorial. I'm not going to worry too much about this file yet. We got some Karma configuration. I don't really use Karma or Jasmine, so I don't know a whole lot about this, but looks like standard JS config stuff. And then, of course, like our package lock file. Let's go into source. This looks like we got our index HTML, just kind of like the entry point of our application, right? This is probably pulling in main. What is this thing? Oh, this doesn't link any JavaScript. Well, I guess the build step probably sorts that out for us then. It must. Okay. Our main TS. Let's see, we check the environment, enable prod mode. If it's not, if the environment's not production. I don't know what any of this is doing, but it's looking like it's bootstrapped in our application. We got this app module here. This looks like it could be meaty. I'm sure we'll learn about this sure we'll learn about this decorator later. But yeah, you declare your app component. Which just has a title and a selector, and we kind of learned about selector too, right? Because a component is just a directive. So the selector means there should be like an element somewhere called app root that's associated with this template URL. And I'm assuming there's probably some VS Code extensions that would let me kind of like control or command click into this stuff. That'd be pretty cool. The styles are here. So if I go back over here, we're just in the app component TS. But if I go to app component HTML, that's neat. Yeah, we see this is our template. There should be some Angular-y stuff down here once we get past the style tags. I think. Maybe. There's a bunch of inline SVGs. It's kind of a mess. Here we go. There's some Angular-y stuff, or template language. So we're dynamically injecting the title in there. It's cool. Which comes from the app component. So it looks like you just basically say title equals a thing, and then this just becomes magically available through the power of Angular as a thing that you can use in your template. I'm not really seeing anything else that's Angular-y in this file, but that's fine. And then yeah, we got this app routing module. Yeah, don't really know exactly what this is doing, but I'm sure we'll learn more about it later. And then also looks like it's set up a simple test file, so this is something we'll probably want to look into in more detail later on, because I do want to learn how to test Angular applications. Anything else interesting in here? We got our assets folder, so there's probably some way of pulling in static assets, and looks like they have a way to just kind of set up different environments for dev or prod, or maybe for staging or testing. Cool. So yeah, that's our episode number 1 there. We got a basic Angular app sort of scaffolded. In the next video, we're gonna actually start writing code and just following along with the Tour of Heroes guide. And yeah, what else is there to say? Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this is interesting stuff. If it's not, let me know, and I'll stop making this. But if it is, also let me know, and I'll keep doing these videos. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button down below if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more of these. If you want to follow me on Twitter, @DanFletcherDev. I also stream once in a while on Twitch too. You can find me over there. It's the original Fletch. And yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.